No, do they die is the myth.
Well, we know they hibernate.
It gets so cold that they die.
And
let's call them pest control activists because they're like the terrorists.
Are they like the DEI of pest control?
My gosh, holy crap, it's chilly. Although the sun does make it
It's already
nicer.
mountain heavy on the road.
Welcome back.
Holy cold.
It's cold out, but that's what we're doing today. We're talking about cold weather because, man, there's some controversy out there in the pest control world about.
There are some people that get really upset, some pest control applicators and owners.
Oh my gosh.
So there's 80% of the pest control applicators and owners out there that firmly, just adamantly believe.
Those are the ones that get online and raise a stink. So.
Well, I guess they've got nothing but time because they're not out servicing.
Maybe. So
they believe that it should not be serviced during winter at a certain temperature.
Yeah, so we're going to cover two myths today. We're back on myths. One, do bugs die when it gets cold? And two, is it illegal to treat a home when it's cold outside? We're going to get to that.
But we're going to have to head inside.
We're going to have to go inside.
Ben is about to die.
Ooh, it's cold. All right. It's warmer in here, so.
Thank goodness.
Gosh.
It's what? 10 degrees out there before the wind chill?
Yeah, but it was -7 when I got out this morning.
Yeah, it was bad.
And tomorrow is going to be like just below 0. And then it's going to warm up.
I ran out of wood to heat my shed with, so when I get home I'm going to have to cut some stuff up.
Yeah, so which myth are we going to cover first?
Do bugs hibernate during the winter?
No, do they die is the myth.
Well, we know they hibernate.
It gets so cold that they die.
And I went and got a haircut yesterday, and my salon lady, haircutting lady, whatever, beautician,
your stylist,
my beautician,
your stylist.
She said, "Oh, I'm so glad it's been so cold because it's killed all the bugs," and I had to just chuckle.
The reality is, there are some bugs, kind of like people. If they're super old and super decrepit, they could die because of the cold.
Cows,
dogs,
any
people,
wildlife,
anything. So that happens. That's natural. It's not as big of a thing as people make it out to be, especially with bugs. They think, oh, we have a hard winter. There's not going to be any wasps or fleas or termites or any of that. That's bullcrap.
You guys have seen a couple of our videos where the snow melted, and the next day I was out moving wood, and the termites were already moving in the wood. I did a couple of logs just a couple of weeks ago, split some logs, and carpenter ant nests everywhere inside of those.
Now, here's how it works. So most bugs don't die in the cold, but they will become less active. That's normal. So
kind of like a reptile, they slow down.
Yeah. So some of them will stop and they won't move, and they'll just either hibernate, or they'll go into dormancy, or butterflies, they migrate. You know that?
Really?
With monarchs, they go somewhere warmer where it's.
I've never followed one.
Yeah, me neither.
Maybe I should. It might be warmer.
But that's one tactic, and then the other is underground shelter. So they're going to find places to overwinter, is what we call it. A lot of them find their way into your home to overwinter, and even if they're in your walls or in your house, they may not move.
No, they just hunker down, kind of like a bear or
hibernating.
Me when it's cold out. They just hunker down in those walls, and there's no reason for them to move. It's too cold. There's not a lot of food out. There's no moisture or no water.
Yep.
It's frozen.
Yep.
So they just hang out.
And then when it warms up, they start getting active again and they start moving. So, do bugs die? No. There's some that die. The old ones, natural selection happens, and that just with anything. But
now you do have areas like here. We have, what is it, a 2-foot or 4-foot frost area on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times your earthworms and your ground bugs will go below that frozen,
or moles and voles and stuff like that.
They'll go below that 2 to 4 foot frozen area, but sometimes they'll just build a nest and hang out in that nest 1 foot below the surface.
So common areas where they're going to hide below ground. Some bugs even hide under a layer of snow. They make an igloo, a bug glue. If you
I
will.
actually saw a layer of snow melt by my shed the other day, and after it melted, like 10 minutes later, a spider came running out of that second layer.
So they can overwinter in the snow. A lot of them are going to go underneath the bark on trees, or underneath leaves in the yard, or just in the ground a little bit.
Well, you have a lot of downfall from the fall and from winter.
If it was called something else, it wouldn't make any sense. It's called fall.
So with all those leaves, that's actually what causes the breakdown of a lot of those leaves is the humidity and the snow and the cold breaking them down, but also the bugs that are living underneath them.
Yeah.
And they stay right underneath that nice little warm coat.
Keeps them alive.
Yeah.
So bugs aren't going to die. We're sorry to ruin your day, but they're not going to die.
I'm sorry to my stylist, my salon gal. They're not dead.
Now, a couple of fun facts. Most bugs are not going to function or develop if it's below 50 degrees. Doesn't mean they're dying. It means that they're going to just go into hibernation or whatever mode you want to call it for each insect. So they don't need to function, and they won't progress. So if they're eggs, they're not going to hatch. Another fun fact is most bugs will not freeze. I'm not saying die, because a bug can still freeze and stay alive, but they won't freeze until it's below -4 Fahrenheit. So they can even still move and function, some of them, until it's way below 0.
Well, the carpenter ants that I was telling you about, the nests, I think it was 15 degrees out, and those nests inside of the wood, they weren't moving. I mean, all of them were curled up and hanging out. As soon as I bounced that wood on the ground, it woke them up, and they started moving around.
But they weren't moving fast, right?
They weren't moving fast.
They
It was
moved
slow enough that I could rub my foot across them and kill them.
He rubbed his foot across it. Was it your bare foot? Hopefully not.
No.
Anyway. All right. So there is a pest that I know that does die if the temperature drops below 37 degrees.
And you guys will be glad to know this one.
For an extended period of time. And they say at least 10 days.
Do you know anywhere that's around here that's below 37 for 10 days?
It's hard. I mean, this year we've had it.
We have.
But most of the time we don't. It's 2 or 3 days of cold and then it's warm again.
So what's the bug?
So it's fleas. Fleas will actually die. That's one. And that's really the only one I could find. You guys can do your own research, and we encourage you to. I got my information from the Farmer's Almanac because farmersonly.com was not a good source.
It's where he found his wife.
No. Anyway, but you can do your own research and see. Bugs don't die. I mean, it's a myth. So that one's busted.
Flat out busted. So all of these, let's get into the next category.
Okay, so the next myth is you shouldn't spray or treat.
This is the big one. This is the one where all the pest control guys fight over it, and they get angry. And
they really do.
The pest control website or the forums online, these guys are just angry.
They're going crazy because people are doing services in the middle of the winter.
And they take pictures of it.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna roast this guy, put him online, and say
it's so against the law.
Why is he doing this?" Or, I mean, I've seen them where it doesn't even look cold, and they're roasting them. I mean, I'll go out and spray today. Okay, let's talk about today because it's butt cold out there right now.
Super cold, and there's snow on the ground.
And there's snow.
If some of those guys saw our guys out servicing, they would lose their ever-loving minds.
They would lose their minds.
And would they catch our guys out servicing on a day like this?
Heck yes.
Yes.
Why are they out today? Because guess what? Monday's going to be 62 from -7.
I'm going swimming.
Yeah, from -7 to 62 in a few days. So what happens if we don't spray until Monday? That's my question.
Well, not just spray, but your granular, right?
Granules, your dusts, your knocking down the cobwebs and all that kind of stuff. What if you don't do that until it's warm?
Well, you're already behind the 8 ball.
It's way too late. So what happens? Bugs start moving, right?
Well, as soon as it hits 50 plus,
37 plus.
Right.
Apparently.
Those bugs are moving. I've seen it firsthand.
And what are they doing? They're looking for food. They're looking for moisture.
Mates.
They want to get busy. So Where do they typically go? And they're going to head for warmer. They're like, oh crap, I got stuck out in that cold.
I didn't make it.
I'm not going to do it again. I'm going in.
I didn't make it all the way to the house.
So they're going to head for the house.
Yeah.
And they will get there if there's no barrier for them. So they'll go in, they'll go underneath the lip of the siding, they'll go in the cracks, the crevices, the doors,
Any gaps
windows.
that maybe the mice bit into
Yep.
your siding, anything.
So they're going to start moving. And then if we go out on Tuesday to spray instead of now,
They're already in.
there's no barrier. They're not going to get any products on them, and it's not going to kill them once they get into your house. And where are they going to end up? In your walls,
in your
wall
son's
voids, in your kids'
toilet.
rooms. And you may not see them right off because, oh, they got into the walls and the insulation and stuff, and they're happy. They're like, oh, this is much better than hanging out in those leaves.
Well, and they say it's amazing how many times when we show up in the spring, they're like, why do they keep showing up every spring like this? It's like they're already in our home.
They are.
Guess
Unfortunately,
what?
they are.
They're already in your home.
So if we were to wait until Monday or Tuesday to spray or to treat, then they've already moved in, and then it's almost impossible for us to get into the wall voids and to kill them at that point. So now we're working 15 times as hard to try to get rid of them. What we will do is we'll treat like they are today. They'll spray a barrier, they'll put the granules down, they'll sweep down the cobwebs and everything. And yes, that product is cold. It takes longer to dry. It takes longer to form the self-encapsulation, but it is a microcap product. It does work that way, and it's fine.
Well, and it's activated by, the granule is activated by moisture.
Moisture. So I pulled out a label of our
Ben's the
perimeter
reader.
product. Because what they say is...
Did you get your magnifying glass for that?
I know, it's kind of hard because it's really small. I should have got a bigger one. But
Story of his life.
the other let's call them pest control activists because they're like the terrorists.
Are
out
they
there.
like the DEI of pest
Oh my
control?
gosh, they say, well, they're spraying when it's too cold. You can't spray below 50, or you can't spray below 40, or you can't spray. They pick these arbitrary numbers. I looked at the label. There is nothing about temperature.
Not
Now,
one thing. Now there is stuff about
wind or runoff or rain. It's very specific about those, and we're not going to cover that stuff today.
And that's common sense in my book.
Well, yeah, you don't want to anyway. But temperature. So now, let's think about this. We don't power spray when it's below freezing because that would be idiotic.
It would ruin
and you
our
would
equipment.
ruin the equipment. Okay, so we get where some of their thought pattern or process comes from because you can't. Your sprayer doesn't work if it's freezing.
Right.
Now, there are different types of sprayers and there are different types of spray coming out of your sprayers. So without getting into a bunch of that, you can like atomize a spray and it will freeze and not attach to a surface.
And that is a problem.
That is a problem. So if it's too cold and your spray is coming out as a snow, then get your snowboard and go snowboarding because that's it. That's all you can do. Depending on how you set up your sprayer and what tip you're using and how you've got it prepared, you can still apply when it's colder than
Meaning
40 or...
larger water molecules, okay?
You almost got it.
Okay.
So can you spray when it's cold? According to the label and according to the law, you can. If a state has a law about it, I'd like to hear it and the reason behind it. But I guess if you're in Alaska or Canada or something, it's too cold. It'll atomize. It will freeze.
Northern Montana, some of those really cold climates, I get it.
Yeah.
However, all of the gurus out there, I'm not even going to call them gurus, I'm going to call them goobers. All of the goobers out there that are just saying,
Pest activists.
listen, DEI, it makes no sense to me, and it makes no sense on the label either. Your personal opinion is your personal opinion.
Hey, and if that's the way that you want to do your services, we're not saying don't. We're
But
not
don't,
saying you shouldn't.
But don't sit here and run down companies that do it this way, because again, come Monday when it's 62 degrees,
We'll have a barrier down for our customers.
our customers are going to have bugs getting killed and yours won't.
Yeah, there are different products. Don't get me wrong. Some are not developed for colder weather and some are not sprayed or applied properly. I'm going by the label that we use. So that's what I'm looking at. And I agree, the label's the law, and I agree to be ethical and truthful and right about what you do. I guess they get mad because they think that we're just ripping people off. But part of our service is we're offering a warranty.
Absolutely. Free retreats
free,
if they need
free
it.
warranty. So we're going to go when the product label says it's no good anymore. You've got to apply within this amount of time, otherwise it's no good. So we keep it on that schedule. That's why we maintain the barrier. Now, I figured out in my head the best schedule would be to be serviced in December, because then you're serviced again in March.
Yeah.
That's really the best. But you know, there are some people that fall in November or January, and
that's where those retreats come in handy. So if you guys are using a service that does allow for those retreats, and they service you, say, in February, early March, and there's still snow on the ground, and you start seeing those bugs again, call them back.
just have them come out. So we can't affect the weather, and it's not always the same. It doesn't, when the groundhog comes up, it doesn't always turn to summer at that point, but sometimes it does. So, you know, that does play a factor, but not as much, especially with somebody like us that offers a warranty. So, to the naysayers, we're sorry.
I'm not sorry one bit.
Everybody's got to make their choice on how their company runs, and from the research and from what we do and what we've seen work and our warranty that we offer, this is the best way to do it.
And I dare say that companies that are saying those types of things are running a side business like snow removal and things like that.
They could be,
And so that's their excuse to not be out servicing.
because they're doing something else, or they don't have the manpower or set up that way. But
And that's fine. That's what makes the world go round. And it's fun to get online and read some of these
sometimes it just
fights,
makes me mad.
but they're not right.
But then the next page, they talk about how bugs die off in the winter. So,
Isn't that crazy?
but you know, we're offering a warranty. We're doing this, so that's why we go out and we want to get it down before the warm comes in. Because here, how do the winters work in Kansas City? Usually, when it snows, like if it snows today,
It'll be gone by what?
it'll
2
be
o'clock?
gone by tomorrow or today. And most of the time, if it snows, we're not bringing the techs in,
Right.
because we don't want them out on the messy roads and wrecking the trucks. So there is some give and take, and you guys are going to have to, those of you that are passionate about this, are just going to have to understand that everybody takes different factors into consideration and different reasons for why we treat the way we treat.
Just like everybody changes their oil differently
And
at
uses different
intervals
brands
and all that type of
Oh my
stuff.
gosh. Don't even get me started on oil. So that's 2 myths today. We covered, do pests die on their own just because of cold, and is it okay to treat in colder weather? So hit us with the comments,
Yeah.
and the haters and the people that don't do it, let us know what you think,
Because we love to sit here and laugh at you.
no, it's a free country.
Is.
You can put your comments down, and we'll
Unless you're
reply
in
to them.
China. If you're in China, don't put a comment.
All right, that's it for Myths today. Sorry we kept an inside stupid monologue video, but it's cold out there.
Yeah, I was cutting glass, so sorry.
All right, that's it for now. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Take
Thanks
care.
for watching.
There is literally like 80% of the pest control applicators and owners out there. Man, your breath is cold. Squirrel.
Man, your breasts are big. That's what I heard. I'm on a diet. Anyway.
Speaking of wood, I know. Oh, you went that route.
Speaking of wood,
I'm thinking bugs, dude.
40 or
larger
32
water
degrees.
molecule.
Yeah.
Larger water molecule. Well, do bugs hibernate? What? Where the heck did that
I
come
don't know.
from?
Go wash your hands. You're filthy.
Oh, that's from that flapper. All right.
He can't even say it.
Larger water molecules.
Molecules.
Larger So all those leaves that are on the ground, that actually causes a lot of the churning of the ground
Yeah.
is to get those bugs under the leaves, and
it makes good insulation because
That's-
you got a bunch of layers and air.
well, that's what I'm
pockets.
talking about. That didn't make sense.
We could start over. So
Larger water molecule.
the way the label says.
Hold
Wow, what's wrong with the Chinese?
They're not free.
No, but they're shorter comments because they're shorter people. Can't say that either.